Shepherd's voice. You know, I have actually a great niece now, and I go to this little niece, and she's so beautiful, and I want to pick her up and hold her, but she's not quite familiar with me. They live in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and I'm up here in the Twin Cities. I'm busy, they're busy. And so I recognize that I need to spend a little more time with my niece if she's going to say, yeah, Uncle Mike picked me up and carry me around, and let's do all this stuff, right? And so I want to do that. It's one of my goals for the month of June. Anyway, I just solicit as an example of we want to know the shepherd's voice. Now think about the sheep. They're in this pen at night, if you will, and then they're going to go out the next day and they're going to graze. There are actually sometimes several shepherds that pool the sheep at night. And then only one has to stay up to guard from wolves, and the other shepherds can sleep during the night, and they switch turns. So in the morning when they come up and these sheep follow that particular shepherd and these follow that shepherd, well, how do they do it? They say, well, I branded that one. You see, you're branded, come this way. The sheep know the shepherd's voice. And so all they have to do is talk, and these sheep go with that shepherd. And this one talks, and those sheep go with that shepherd. And so the shepherd wants us to know his voice, Jesus. And we hear his voice in our conscience. Conscience, the light of conscience, which says do this and don't that, don't do that. We hear his voice in the scriptures when we open up the scriptures and we read, and suddenly something will stick out a little bit more at the page to us, be beautiful, curious, and God is speaking. And God speaks through our desires. And which desires are accompanied by peace and joy with God. And so in these ways we begin to discover more and more the shepherd's voice. And if we never practice it, we never get good at it. It's hard, requires silence. The shepherd also sometimes sends ambassadors, and that would be even you and me, to be ambassadors for others, right? To speak the word of the good shepherd, to proclaim the scriptures, to talk about God's love. And I just want to highlight one way the Blessed Virgin Mary is that. And I do it because May 13th is a special anniversary. Who knows what it is? All right, so May 13th is the 100th anniversary of Fatima, where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared in Fatima, Portugal. She met three little children, Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco. And then later there was a miracle of the sun, and a whole group of thousands of people were there. But so this would happen. Lucia recounts the experience, and I want to share it with you. We saw another flash of lightning, and after a few steps we saw on an oak a lady dressed in white, shining brighter than the sun, giving out rays of clear and intense light, just like a crystal goblet full of pure water when the fiery sun passes through it. And the lady said to the three children, "Do not be afraid of me. I'm not going to harm you." And Lucia's first question, "Where are you from?" Didn't ask, like, what's your name or why is this happening? Where are you from? This is a 12-year-old girl, right? "I come from heaven," Mary said. The lady wore a pure white mantle, edged with gold, and which fell to her feet. In her hands the beads of a rosary shone like stars, with its crucifix the most radiant gem of all. Still, Lucia felt no fear. The lady's presence produced in her only gladness and joy. So Lucia said, "What do you want of me?" "I want you to return here on the 13th of each month for the next 6 months, at the very same hour. Later I shall tell you who I am and what it is that I most desire, and I shall return here yet a 7th time." And then this little 12-year-old says, "And shall I go to heaven?" "Yes, you will." "And Jacinta?" "She will go too." "And Francisco?" Francisco too, but he will first have to pray many rosaries. That's the guys. They need more work. And then she knew two people died, so she said, is Maria Nevis in heaven? Yes, she is. And Amelia? She's in purgatory. Well, she's at least on the way. Will you offer yourselves to God and bear all the sufferings he sends you, said Mary, in atonement for all the sins that offend him and for the conversion of sinners? Will you offer yourselves to God and bear all the sufferings he sends you? Oh, we will, said Lucia. Then you will have a great deal to suffer, but the grace of God will be with you and will strengthen you. Say the rosary every day to bring peace to the world and an end to war. Now that anniversary, I just want to highlight 100th year of Fatima, May 13th. So that's coming up this next Saturday. What else happened on May 13th in 1982? John Paul II's attempted assassination. Man from Hungary, Mehmet, I don't know how to say it exactly, came into the St. Peter's Piazza and from point blank distance shot John Paul II. And John Paul II said afterwards, one hand pulled the trigger and another hand guided the bullet. Because if you know the story, the bullet just went around his heart. 1 millimeter different, done. So that bullet, think about it, May 13th. He said the Blessed Virgin Mary guided the bullet. That was the date, the anniversary date she appeared at Fatima. They took that bullet, they brought it to Portugal, Fatima, and they put it in the crown of the Blessed Virgin Mary's head, on the crown on her head. And it fit perfectly right in the center. And if you ever go to Fatima in Portugal, you will see it. So today, I'm inviting you two things really. One is to hear the voice of the Good Shepherd. And two is sometimes to hear it through ambassadors. You are called to be ambassadors. The Blessed Virgin Mary is an ambassador.